It's the same every year. The clock ticks down. The year changes number, and for a brief, fleeting moment, the entire world holds its breath. Have you ever stopped to ask why? Why do we put so much pressure on this one specific midnight? Why do we feel that if we start January 1st correctly, the rest of the year will fall into line? New Year's isn't just a party. According to anthropologists, it's a battleground to conquer chaos. Today, we are traveling to 3 distinct places to look at 3 very specific traditions: Spain, China, and Venice. Spain, where silence is broken by the eating of fruit. China, where a mythical beast is fought off with noise. And Venice, where the new year was an excuse to disappear behind a mask. On the surface, these customs have nothing to do with each other, but dig a little deeper and you find they share a common purpose: the symbolic conquest of chaos and the desperate human need to control an uncertain future. So, settle in. We're going to find out why you're actually practicing ancient magic, the architecture of New Year's. To understand these traditions, we first have to learn a word that anthropologists love: liminality. Coined by Victor Turner, a liminal period is a threshold. It's a time that exists outside of normal social structures. It's that weird week between Christmas and New Year's. Rules dissolve. Transformation becomes possible. For thousands of years, going back to Mesopotamia, societies have used this time out of time to hit the reset button. It's a collective death and rebirth, but because this time is uncertain, it's scary. So humans developed a coping mechanism. We call it sympathetic magic. This isn't pulling a rabbit out of a hat. This is the ancient belief that like produces like. If you eat something abundant, your year will be abundant. It sounds like superstition, but anthropologists argue these are sophisticated cognitive strategies. When we perform these rituals, we are building a structure to manage anxiety. And nowhere is this anxiety managed more deliciously or more frantically than in Spain. It is Noche Vieja, Old Night. In Spain, the focus isn't on a ball dropping, but on a clock tower in Madrid, the Puerta del Sol. The 12 grapes. The ritual is incredibly specific. You have 12 grapes. You have 12 bell chimes at midnight. You must eat 1 grape for every chime. That sounds easy until you realize the bells chime once every few seconds. You have a 1-second window per grape. If you finish them all in time, you get good luck and prosperity for the 12 months of the coming year. If you don't, well, good luck. It is a moment of frantic collective panic, but here is the plot twist. You might assume this is some ancient druidic custom from the Middle Ages. Actually, it's arguably a marketing stunt. Historical documentation suggests this tradition really kicked off in the early 20th century. In the early 1900s, farmers in regions like Alicante and La Rioja had a massive surplus of grapes. They had a bumper crop and no one to buy it. So, what do? You invent a tradition. Growers promoted the idea of the lucky grapes to sell off their inventory. And it worked. It reveals something fascinating about folklore. It doesn't have to be old to feel real. But the ritual evolved. The sheer difficulty of eating 12 grapes with seeds in under a minute led to a new economic innovation: the seedless grape. Today, you can buy cans of pre-peeled seedless grapes specifically for this 30-second window of time. But why did it stick? Why do millions of Spaniards still do this? It goes back to that idea of embodied ritual. You are physically incorporating time into your body. You aren't just watching the year change, you are consuming it. It also creates what sociologist Emile Durkheim called collective effervescence. Everyone in the country is doing the exact same awkward thing at the exact same time. It binds the nation together. So in Spain, they handle the anxiety of the new year by eating it. In China, however, they handle it by fighting back. While the Spanish tradition is a modern invention, the Chinese tradition is rooted in deep ancient mythology. It centers on a story that explains everything: the red lanterns, the firecrackers, and the drums. It is the legend of the Nian. The legend tells of a beast called Nian, which is actually the Chinese word for year. This wasn't a cute mascot. This was a monster that came out of the mountains or the sea at the turn of the year to devour livestock and eat humans. Think about the psychology here. In agricultural societies, the turn of the year was terrifying. Winter meant famine, cold, and darkness. By personifying these threats as a monster, the culture made the abstract fear of chaos into something concrete, something you could fight. The turning point in the myth is crucial. The villagers didn't wait for a superhero. They discovered that the Nian had three specific weaknesses. It was terrified of the color red, it hated bright fire, and it couldn't stand loud noises. This is a masterclass in sensory overload. The victory over chaos comes from the community working together to flood the environment with stimuli. This leads us to one of the most famous icons of global culture, the lion dance. We often lump the lion dance and dragon dance together, but they mean different things. The lion dance is a ritual reenactment of the Nian legend. The dancers act aggressive. They are mimicking the beast to scare away evil spirits. The dragon dance is different. The dragon represents cosmic energy, imperial authority, and the flow of qi or life force. But here is the philosophical beauty of this tradition. The Nian returns every year. The victory is never permanent. This acknowledges a deep truth. Chaos and order are a cycle. You don't defeat your problems once and for all. You have to show up with your community, make some noise, and push the darkness back again and again. But what if you don't want to fight the chaos? What if you want to join it? We are moving now to the pre-Lenten season, the Carnival of Venice, officially documented since the year 1162. Today, we see these masks as souvenirs. But originally, the mask was a revolutionary tool. It was a social technology. In medieval Europe, everyone knew who you were just by looking at your clothes. Your class, your job, your status, it was all visible. But when you put this on, that hierarchy vanished. The mask created institutionalized anonymity. A noble could gamble with a peasant. A woman could walk the streets unaccompanied. A priest could, well, do things priests weren't supposed to do. This created a state of social inversion. For a few weeks every year, the strict rules of feudal society were suspended. Psychologists tell us that anonymity does two things. It makes people more generous, but it also makes them more cruel. And Venice saw both. It was a time of immense creativity and romance, but also crime, spying, and political conspiracy. It got so out of hand that when Napoleon conquered Venice in 1797, one of the first things he did was ban the carnival. The masks were too dangerous. They threatened the visual order of the state. For nearly 200 years, the tradition was dead. It was only revived in 1979. But the modern version is different. It's what historians call heritage tourism. Today, the mask is a costume, not a disguise. We don't need masks to be anonymous anymore. We have the internet for that. But the ghost of the tradition remains, the desire to step out of our own lives, even just for a night, and become someone else. So, we have three different methods. Spain eats the time, China scares away the chaos, Venice hides from the rules. But they are all responding to the same thing, the liminal moment. All three of these traditions rely on collective action. You don't eat the grapes alone, you do it with the country. You don't fight the Nian alone, the village does it together. And they all use magical thinking. We like to think we are modern scientific people. We know that eating a fruit doesn't statistically change the probability of getting a promotion in August. But we do it anyway. Why? Because the ritual gives us agency. It gives us the illusion of control, and psychologists have found that this feeling of control, even if it's an illusion, actually improves our well-being. We need these rituals. We need to mark the time. We need to feel that we have closed the door on the old year and opened a new one with intention. Whether you are fighting a monster, wearing a mask, or just trying not to choke on a grape, you are participating in a human struggle that is thousands of years old, the struggle to make sense of tomorrow. So, This New Year's, when you do whatever weird tradition your family has, don't feel silly, you're just practicing a little bit of ancient magic. I want to know, what is the specific ritual you do to reset your year? Do you eat lentils, throw water out the window? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this deep dive into cultural history, make sure to subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.